Alaikum. Welcome to the screencast of Code Smells Part 1. I am Fazil Karim. I am the top coder at Code Coopers and lead mentor at Virtual Tech Academy. You will find this slide at the description page of the video. So let's start. Before proceeding, you have a quiz. Write a method that will calculate the area of a circle. That means the user will input the radius. Your method will take the radius as a parameter and return the area of the circle. So do it. Suppose in this time you have paused your video and write down the code. So let's go to the next slide. So this is the answer, possible answer. It will take a parameter which is double, and there is a pi 3.1416, and the area of the circle is radius, which is square, and the pi, which is b, and we are returning m as the result or the area. So in a sense there is no problem in this code, right? But the question is, can you make it better? Maybe. So let's see. How about this method? If you write this method, this is self-explanatory, right? So the parameter is the radius, the method name is getArea, and the variable is named pi, and each of them are self-descriptive. So the area is pi cross radius, and we are returning the area. So it is the better than this method. Now let's check whether if we can make it even better than this one. In this method or in this code snippet, you can see I have refactored the total line outside of the method, constant double pi, which is outside of the method, and method is only one line, pi, which is coming from here, and radius cross radius. So I guess you admit that this code snippet is far better than the first one, which is this one. Why should we write this code, this self-explanatory code? Why? Because when you call this method, the method name will dictate you what you want to do. Let's see later. So in a single page, if I just copy and paste the both method, you can see this was the first one and this was the second one. Certainly the second one is much better. So what's the point? The point is, write code for human, not for machine, because ultimately the machine compiles the code into its own language and executes only 101010, the binaries. So there's no meaning or advantage of writing b instead of the pi or radius. So write code for human, not for machine. But how can we write good code? So when you start writing a code or a method or a class, be sure your code is simple enough, which is simplicity, readable enough, that means anyone can just read your code and understand what it's doing. Modularity, that means it's not containing so much things in a single place, different type of code in different places, different class, different method. You're not writing different tasks in a single method. This is modularity. Efficiency, that means you are not writing so much variables, so much constants, so much method, just writing optimized code is the efficiency. And the last one is clarity. That means your code does what it's supposed to do. Suppose the get area of a circle, that means the get circle area, so it's supposed to give me pi r square. Now if you write get circle area method name and return 2 cross pi cross radius, then it is not doing what it's supposed to do. You will get the wrong result, but still you have write the proper naming and the proper variable names, but the method is not doing what it's supposed to do. So the clarity. So when your code smells, change it. So you can ask me, what? How would my code smells? Are you crazy? Because it is some binary screen digits inside of the screen. So how does it smell? So there is a term called code smell, which says us a code smell is a hint that something has gone wrong somewhere in your code. So there is a certain difference between a smell and a fragrance. So be sure you understand the difference between smell and fragrance. Smell is something used for the bad sense, and the fragrance is used for the good sense. So you are using code smell, not code fragrance or scent, SCENT. A code smell is a surface indication that usually corresponds to a deeper problem in the system. So both lines are quite similar. Third point is interesting. A code smell gives us some indication that it may be wrong, but it is not saying as it certainly is a wrong thing. So the code smell differs from person to person. Well, not for the naming convention, but there are a lot of code smells. So some code smells are not acknowledged by some developers, and some treat that as code smell. This term is first coined by Kent Beck. Kent Beck is a boss level developer. Oh, okay, I get it. But what are code smells? What I'm talking about? So code smells, there are some classification of the code smells. These are some examples or the names. Number 1, inappropriate naming, unnecessary comments, dead code, duplicate code, large method, large class, etc. Each of them are self-explanatory. We generally write these types of code. So let's describe what it is one by one. What I have showed you some times ago was a real example of inappropriate naming. So make your code understandable while reading it, because the first method which I wrote was not understandable by a human. Name the variables meaningfully and clearly. The name of the variable should express its usage in the code. Yes, we have done it. Give method names on the purpose. Yes, because get area and get circle area, definitely get circle area is more appropriate than get area. So when you call a method, you easily understand what I'm trying to do and what I'm getting as the output. So get circle area is much better than the get area method. Name of the methods should be meaningful and express its responsibility. This is what I'm saying. Now suppose the left hand side is a variable declaration, private double A, but we don't understand what it's supposed to do. The right hand side, this one clearly states us that it is a salary variable. The value which is contained here is supposed to be some salary. Suppose the next thing, the method ABCD, it doesn't say anything to us, but getSalary, it's saying us that the method implementation inside of this method body will return us the salary. So naming is very important. Second thing, unnecessary comments. We do it a lot. We should avoid unnecessary comments, because a beautiful code like this one, this is a beautiful code. Okay, so a beautiful code talks by itself. It talks itself. We understand by reading it. Don't write code for dumps, but write for another programmer. So let's again think about the last method which I showed you. This code clearly states that it is multiplying the radius into 2, that means squaring, and multiplying the pi. So we understand it is actually doing the area calculation of the circle. So it is easily understandable. We don't have to write again the comment that this method is doing the calculation of a circle area. We don't need to write this comment. It's unnecessary comments. This type of comments is for dumps. So we don't write code or comments for dumps. So some odd numbers 1 to 10. This is an example. Suppose a developer, maybe a coder or programmer, whoever, just comments these comments. This method calculates sum of odd numbers from 1 to 10. Okay. Then he is saying initializing the sum here. Well, we understand that it is doing this, and he is writing that checks for the odd. Well, we easily understand I remainder of 2 is not equals to 0 is certainly the odd. So, but if we write this type of method, then we don't have to write these types of comments, because double s, I, s plus equals to I, we have to write the comments because it is very hard to understand what's happening here. But if we write these types of method, then we don't need to write the comments, because the sum is self-explanatory, count is also self-explanatory, and we are checking is odd. So is odd is another method which is returning whether it is odd or even. So unnecessary commenting is prohibited. Dead code is another disease of our writing code. Dead code is that which is executed but not used from anywhere in the code. That means sometimes we, okay, let's show you. Okay, I didn't show it. Okay, so I'm telling you. Dead code is, suppose you are writing some code which doesn't be executed anywhere. Suppose you are declaring a variable integer count equals to 10, but you haven't used this count variable anywhere in the method. Suppose you have write a method get full name, but you haven't used or called this method anywhere from your code. So these are the dead code. So these codes should be eliminated immediately from your class or method. So the dead code is that code which is executed by the compiler. Yes, the compiler knows there is a method, suppose get full name, it knows about that method, but your program didn't call it anywhere from your code. Don't drive your code reviewers crazy. Well, in my case, when I review some of the codes from my students, I got crazy sometimes. Don't waste your application cycle time because it slows down the execution time. Definitely. So you're writing 10 different variables, 5 different methods which doesn't actually need it to execute. So the execution time is delaying for those extra codes which is not used anywhere from your method or class. Make your code valuable. Why it is called valuable? Because the same task, if I can write 10 lines for that task, and if someone else write 50 lines for the same task, which is better? Mine is better, because I write 10 lines, the same code, efficient. Okay, I get it, these are the smells, but how do I remove these code smells from my code? These now start stinking me. Well, in my next video, inshallah, I will show you how can we remove those codes from existing code methods or classes. Not today, in the next week, inshallah. So thanks for watching. Keep in touch. Feel free to email me at fazilquerymaker@gmail.com. And in the first slide, I have given 2 hyperlinks in our Facebook page. Feel free to subscribe, and feel free to message there also. And let us know what else type of videos you want. So thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum.